Yisro Chag, because he just finished the 7 days, which comes Behemshech to Chag HaShavuos. So, and Chag HaShavuos is a whole thing of Nesuin of Bnei Yisrael and the Eibishter. So if you don't mind, we'll talk at 3 Sheilos after Sheilos with Nesuin. So there's always a Shaila that happens. Do you make a Shaila Barachas Vashal Shuvas or not?
Hoping to one.
Right.
Many.
Yeah, right. So it's like there's a Shaila about this.
This Shabbat is your Shabbat.
Oh, that's why I'm talking about it. It's in the Yom Yoma. So as I said, I hope you don't mind. But anyway, it's a Shaila that happens. It's a Shem for every Yid to marry off the children. So you have a Shaila. So you make by Suda Shlish it's Sheva Barachas. So let's look here. It says the Gemara, we make the Berichas Chasanim. Agabucha, we learned it from Boyaz and Rus, also the connection to Shuas. That there's Berichas Chasanim, any meal that happens in the 7 days after the Chasan, Omer Rabbi Yehuda, Uchabo, Param Chadoshes, there has to be a Param Chadoshes that came. Otherwise, the Shulchan Aruch says that there's an exception for the chasna itself. Even every single person that was there at the chuppah, sorry for that. Even if every single person came to the chasna, okay, so for the suda chasna you don't have to have a param chadoshes. But otherwise you need to have a param chadoshes. That's what the Gemara says. Who should param chadoshes? Tosfos says the param chadoshes ain't koyed ever, but they odem shamar b'mishvil asimcha yoyse. That a param chadoshes is only if they're going to be marbe the simcha for them. The whole idea, according to Tosfos, of Param Chadoshes is that now there's going to be a new person. So you have the same people. You keep on giving the same food. We have a new person. So there's more simcha here. Yeah. And then Tosfos continues the Shabbos, the Chashvinim, Param Chadoshes, and also Shabbos is considered a Param Chadoshes. Everyone in the Sheva Brachas you need to have a Param Chadoshes in order to do Sheva Brachas, but Shabbos itself is a Param Chadoshes. The Bnei Back God is Meshilei Shabbos. Param Chadoshes Ba'olaka, Nochname, Marben Lokavit Shabbos, B'Simcha B'Suda. That's what Tosfos says. So the Tur brings a machloikas. Bottom line, the Tur brings a machloikas. L'gavi Shalashudas. Many Rishonim say that what's the difference? Any meal of Shabbos is a Param Chadoshes. Other Rishonim say, no, here you need a Param Chadoshes. Others say, you know what, if the Chosan is going to say a Drush at Dvar Torah, then the Drosh of the Chosan becomes the Param Chadoshes. Others say, no, there's no such thing as Sheva Brachas by Suda Shlishis. Now, I think basically comes down to 2 basic Sheilos over here, that in the Svaras and Machloikas and the Rishonim and the Poskim here. One is, Tosfos says b'feidish, and other Rishonim don't say it, is that the whole idea of the Param Chadoshes is that they're going to be moised extra suda. So, the Beis Yosef says that the reason Shalosh Shudas doesn't have a Sheva Brachos is kivin sheyoytze v'min targima. He could be yoytze with something small, right? The thing of so it's. The shaila is when he says you could be yoytze min targima, he means bepoil. So the poil, the Shalosh Shudas has only, like in the old shuls, 1 schmaltzering and a few bulkas. But look, what's a bepoil? They put a big suda on the table, like in the base Menachem Mendel Moshe, where they make a big suda, not just 10 slices of herring. So would you make then a Sheva Brachas or not? That's the shaila. Another shaila is not the Tosfos is mashma. The Tosfos says that the Param Chadoshes is the marbe b'simcha b'suda, but other Rishonim don't mention the marbe b'simcha b'suda. Maybe it's the conditions of Shabbos. What's the Param Chadoshes?
So I have a question. Shabbat Malkat is not...
Right, that's my question. That's what I'm saying. Shabbos Malkas itself. And the Kedusha, according to the Chassidus, is always going up. The Kedusha of Reivet is the biggest Kedusha. So that's there.
Yeah, but we're not Mustaric women do it, only men.
Malka is enough.
It's a Shaila Giz, and it's Malka or Malkas.
Oh. So this is only, of course, where you don't have Param Chadoshes.
No, some say, the Yamsha Shlema says that even if you have a Panim Chadoshos, you can't do Sheva Brachos. It's like a very interesting...
On Shabbos?
On Shabbos by Shalosh Shudas.
Because you've already done it?
No,
What's the reason?
He says because the whole thing of Sheva Brachos is only by regular Suda of the morning or the afternoon. Shalosh Shudas is an extra Suda, which is from Kavod Shemayim, and this is taken away from Kavod Shemayim.
Oh, it's taken away.
It's a funny svara. He says it's taken away from Kavod Shemayim. And he says...
During the day, not?
He says regular Suda, Erev Avoiker, there's always a regular Suda. So now you're going to make a Kavod Chosn, Sheva Brachos. Shalosh Shudas is going to be dedicated for Kavod Shemayim.
I'm making a Kavod Shemayim. And then I'm also making Sheva Brachos the Kavod Shemayim.
But you're making
It's svara.
But he says, but the Chosn Kala is...
Yeah, but they're being starved in the Kavod Shemayim. What are we doing? Sheva Brachos. It's not Brachos to the Chosn Kala. Sheva Brachos to the Eibishter. That's the whole Brachos.
So probably you're being now. That's what the other shittas will answer. That's what the other shittas will answer. The interesting thing is, he says, don't follow the minig of Bnei Russia, she'enam Bnei Torah.
Whoa! Whoa! That's sharp.
Понимать это?
Yeah,
Ну, по-русски понимать?
they were not Bnei Torah back then. Talking Yam Shlomo. Shlomo is a contemporary of the Shulchan Aruch, of the Ramah.
Wow.
Did he say Bnei Russia?
Yeah, Bnei Russia. He says, don't look at the Bnei Russia. She'enam Bnei Torah.
That's exactly what the Rabbi said when he was Yehudi. When the Russian that came
Yeah, how do you...
מה, בערב יודע, הוא היה שם.
Shmur the whole story.
But interesting, the Prishan says that because the Tur brings that there was a minig that after the Shabbos davening, people used to dance with the Chosn and Kala or the Chosn back home, and they used to make Sheva Brachos. Shulchan says you can't do. The Tur says you can't do such a thing because you have to have a Suda. You can't just dancing alone is not good enough to make Sheva Brachos. You have to have a Suda. Anyway, the Aruch HaShulchan, so just to summarize, there's those that say that Shabbos itself is good enough for Sheva Brachos and Shalosh Shudas. So you don't need those that say that you need a Panim Chadoshes or the Chosn should say Advar Torah instead of Panim Chadoshes. And those that say it doesn't even help to say Advar Torah and a Panim Chadoshes. The Aruch HaShulchan paskins, and the same thing the Eish Labram the Chat Shiro, he says that if you're going to be moisef a nice Suda by Shalosh Shudas, then for sure you can make a Sheva Brachos. It's not going to help for the Yom Shel Shlomo, but he says, Pashtus, the reason is there has to be a nice Suda. If you make a nice Suda, then it's good enough.
Is there any discussion Malach will be different than any other Suda?
Yeah, L'chayrim Malk is not a question you can have a Sheva Brachos.
No, I know you can have a Sheva Brachos, but would it be any different, because we're talking about Shabbos?
No. Sheva Malk is already Malk.
So it's just Chol, it just happens to be multi-Shabbos.
Yeah.
Why would it be even a Shiloh if you just have the Sheva Brachos on Shabbos day, lunch?
Yeah.
Then you wouldn't have to have the Sheva Brachos.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
The Chacham is here on Shabbos, and he comes in Beis Nachman, and we eat Shalosh Shudas, we make Sheva Brachos.
Right, exactly.
You already had 7 already. Why would you have to have
7, you can have 27.
Yeah, exactly.
You
divide.
But the Chiyuv is 7. You have to have
The Shabbos Shalosh Shudas is this anomaly that that it's a small suit that's not kedai.
Week of the Brachos, then you should.
It's not kedai.
Make Sheva Brachos.
What?
Not that you should most of it, but if you have a million, but the Chosn do it.
They don't allow
You don't have to make more than 7, but the latter.
Yeah, I'll get that one. Must have one. So,
Yochanan had a good question. Does
Yeah.
the Kala have to be there?
the who?
Kala.
Kala has to be.
They want just the Chosn was there.
Has to have the Chosn Kala. So the Aruch HaShulchan says that that you just bring a little nice foods for the Shalosh Shudas and Gander. And he's not kosher so much for the Yom Shel Shlomo. The bottom line is that that's what today a lot of the Rebbe Shatishti, there's a lot that that rely on this. They make an extra thing l'koved Shabbos. Dafke the Kosher Tzamagid, it's brought even the Ritva here. He said that say, what are you talking about? The Kedusha Shabbos is the most intense of Shalosh Shudas. But anyway, L'maisa the Aruch HaShulchan says that you should just add a little item on the table besides the 10 pieces of herring, and then for sure you can make Sheva Brachos. Oh, this is what we get to. How do you make the end? How do you do it?
I have a raya that That's not even necessary.
Yeah, why?
I have a Shabbat bracha. And the only thing that we had was a reward.
By the Rebbe, right?
By the Rabbi.
When was
Nothing else.
It's on video.
error,
It's on video.
And when was it?
When I was in a Shabbat bracha.
In the weekday verbrengen or Shabbos verbrengen?
No, it was Rosh Chodesh for bringing.
Weekday.
Rosh Chodesh, not
On video.
Shabbat. Yeah, and it was all we did was wash. Period. So go ahead.
Okay.
They used to know the Rebbe like that. They didn't show
No,
up.
He had a Shabbat bracha,
I
but
remember
then
Shabbat. They-
Does the extra special food have to be also itself
No.
upon the chadashes?
Move, right?
In other words, can I take a piece of the cake from the chasana that already saw the chazan?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Okay, so that's, let's read it inside. Should even Ezra some place in Ches. Yesh Yochanan Sheni Kapon Chadash Elam came in the Adam Shemarnu B'Shvilom. The Avanam Chadashim is only if there's new people and you're married with the Suda. Yesh Yochanan B'Shabbos Yom Tov and Yom Tov Sheni have a Kapon Chadash as B'Suda Salayla B'Shachris. The two meals by Shabbos and Yom Tov, that the Shabbos itself is a Kapon Chadash. Although B'Suda Shlishis, Achin Pashat Aminik. So basically, the Sfarad and Taka don't make Shalosh Shulas with the Sheva Brachas, a Sheva Brachas by Shalosh Shulas. The Agah, but the Ramos says, "V'achshav noag within a zevul." What is Zayin Brachas? That we are noag. The Achshav Shum that a Gilum Log upon Chadoshes. V'yeshem and Metam that a Gilum Lidrish. V'adrosh have upon Chadoshes. Number one, the Ramos says, anyway, usually there's upon Chadoshes by the Shalosh Shulas. And number two, he says because the drosha that's happening b'shas the shalosh shudas. And as I said, Baruch HaShulchan adds it for extra protection. You should add a little something to the suda. And the shayla is how do you make the sheva bracha? So let's read one more piece in the Alter of Shulchan Aruch in Hilchos Shabbos and Mereis Tzadik Tes. Shoyoshev Eichel Bayom Shein Tzarich Lahafsik Mishados Lahav Lo Kodem Bechtamaz and Yishlo Elishim Gamkim Koshel Bechtamaz and Af Koshel Yibel Adayin Bishim Koshel Bechtamaz and Gamkim Achlal Asuda Misha Nizer Lo'olam Levarich Bechtamaz Ala Kois. If you always do nizer to make Bechtamaz with a kosher bracha, you're allowed to do Shalosh Shudas, and then you drink the kois before Havdalah, and it's not a problem. Sometimes you do Bechtamaz without a kois. You rely on the opinion that Bechtamaz doesn't need a kois. Also, the kois Bechtamaz and Havdalah, it's also to drink from the kois of Bechtamaz before Havdalah. They actually had this once in Beis Menachem Mendel, that someone drank and he felt really bad, but the emphasis was not nishkeferlach, because the truth is that there's a machlokes. The Rishonim, how we paskin kosher, if there's a chiyuv to have kosher bracha or not. We paskin Shulchan Aruch that you're not obligated, or it's a mitzvah and a mufkah to have kosher bracha. But according to the opinion that you're obligated to have kosher bracha, so then you're supposed to drink the kosher bracha right away. There's no question. It's just that we don't go with that opinion. We're not always nizar to have a kosher bracha, so we leave over the kosher bracha later for Havdalah. But the Lamaisa, what you need to do when you have a Shalosh Shudas is that you don't drink it till after Havdalah, and after Havdalah you make Vayrik Liagofen, and then you do, and then the Chosn and Kali will
So
drink.
you do all the 7 brachot to the same cup.
No. But like every Sheva bracha, we have 2 places.
One for Birchas Hamazon and one for Sheva Brachot.
Right. And that one for Birchas Hamazon.
Hamazon is that you do for Havdalah.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. So that's what you do. Okay. So Akala asked recently, Ashayla, definitely if Chosn should chaza maimer, probably it should be mamash akonim chadosh. Chosn itself should become a new person to be chazas a maimer.
Yeah, but really, it sounds like with all the opinions, any way you do, you're okay.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, exactly.
I do remember when you Rebbe sometimes Sheva Brachas, the Rebbe waited for the Sheva Brachas to be finished. Right the mind of the Sheva Brachas, and then to continue Birchas Hamazon.
Oh, yeah?
If it's a Rabbi, you can do it. Other people can.
Wow. Wow. Shaila. Kala asked, it was hard for her to fast on the day of the chuppah. She doesn't want to fast. Because does she have to fast or not? So Shulchan Aruch, Even HaEzer,
It's a hint of fast or does
yeah, it's brought in Shulchan Aruch, and Even HaEzer, people, it's surprising, but it's brought in Shulchan Aruch. And then he's asking if it's brought in Shulchan Aruch. Yeah, it's brought in Shulchan Aruch. Noagu sha'chosin v'kala, v'sanem b'yom kufosan. The minig is, but it's brought in Shulchan Aruch as a minig. The minig is the chosin v'kala fasting the day of the chuppah. Yeshem v'mas chuppah tachas shemayim, l'simen toiv, she'yeh zarem kechech b'shamayim. So
that's the only reason?
right.
No, but this the only reason we use Tachat Chupat HaShamayim.
Is for Siman Toiv.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, it's only for this reason. But no, but you have to realize there's another reason. Every minute. No, say it.
He says Sephardi Tahor.
Yeah.
The reason they call it Sephardi Tahor, Keilu, they did not convert when they were in Spain, the Inquisition.
Right.
So those, when they came out, they didn't make it. My grandfather, Rabbi Sharon, he brought in Ladino, the characters. And it's Sai Samachtes, Sephardi Tahor. Okay.
The Rebbe spoke about it all the time.
It's not because we are tahor, because we didn't even to make believe that we converted.
Right.
Nish too.
Ah, very nice. I like that shot. Tzvardi Tov means that not that the white supremacists. That Tzvardi Tov means that they came from Spain, but they never chas v'sholom converted to Christianity.
It was
Even
not even a pshat.
Not even Morano.
yeah. But I heard another pshat. That Samachtes. Samachtes means Suf Yetam. Have a nice day.
Marrano means marrano. The word marrano means
Pig.
chazir. But why they call it marranos? Because the inquisitors used to come by the chazir. You know, Mashemam used to say to me to see how sincere they were those new convertees. So they sit in the headquarters over there, eating mamash pig.
Yeah, they made a movie. They made a movie series over after it. Sure, it's Morano.
Marrano is a pig. Cerdo, in
Soprano.
It sounds like Moreno Rabbeinu, Moreno.
Soprano is Italian, not Marano. Yeah, Soprano is Italian.
Kidding.
No, it's very derogatory though. They don't like being called Moranos. I met a whole bunch of them. And Chabad rabbi there. And there's all these descendants of the conversos.
Where was that? Where?
And it's unbelievable. They look online. They split into a cup and they see that they have 80% Jewish ancestry.
Right, genetics.
Genetics, and they want to go. A lot of them. There's hundreds of thousands of them.
Where are they?
All over the world. They're all over the world. They're in all of South America.
Yeah, but it's on the west coast of Florida.
In the West Coast?
Yeah, it's called Canada.
But you know why they wear strangles? Because there was some story of some king that told the Jews that they have to wear the tail of the animal on their heads. That's all they can wear.
Yes, I heard something like that.
Ad hayom זה משהו מכובד. It came from a bizayon.
But there is a...
So האמת היא גמרא, no, זה לא ביזיון, זה כבוד.
Kavod, don't forget the price. It's very expensive.
Bingo had a sale last year. $4.99. They didn't last too long.
By the time they came there, they didn't have any.
You know, bingo is the Gemacho Moran.
It's like Shabbos. If not, you eat an extra piece. If it doesn't work out, another half a piece. How much is this? Okay. So again, the Sheilos was about fasting on the day of the chuppah. So it's three reasons said. Number one, it's brought in Shulchan Aruch, brought in Shulchan Aruch and Beishmol. It's because it's Slichadin who Shenim Cholam Avanasayim, the Yom Kippur they do. It's like the Yom Kippur for the Chosna Kala. It's their Yom Kippur to the extent that the Minig Yisrael is that the Chosn, since he wears already a kittel on the day of his chuppah, Tachas HaChuppah, he doesn't wear it on Yom Kippur. So therefore he has to fast. Like Yom Kippur, you have to fast. The second reason that's brought from Shulchan Aruch to the Beishmol is Shema Yishtakru v'lo Yedaitem Yusheves Aleim B'Shas HaKiddushin, and there has to be the absolute, clear, lucid mind from the Chosn and the Kala that the chosin is being koina and the kala is being makna herself. So we don't want later someone should say, he drank a little, he took l'chaim by the chosin's dish, and he didn't know what he's doing. Right. So we want that they should that we should know that kiddushin. There's no question on the kiddushin. What happens if there be a question kiddushin? Because by Klal Yisrael, the kiddushin is a very important thing, because there's a beautiful Sam Sofer, and he says that you have to. There are people that only eat by a suda of. They don't go out to eat meals unless it's a suda's mitzvah. So he says an engagement party, what you call today avor to l'chaim, he says is a suda's mitzvah. Why is it a suda's mitzvah? He says because the Gemara says that Rav Mangid Aman the mekadesh bebiyah, that if a person that doesn't make a regular kiddushin, it just even if he does make a kiddushin, but he's doing kiddushin through biyah, so he's to give him malchus for that. Why? Because the kiddush of Klal Yisrael requires that there should be a kosher kiddushin, and then the chosn kala go home and they live their life. Here, if they
how are they gonna know? How are they gonna know? Who did biyah with kiddushin? Gonna tell them right away.
If a Meshigana, he tried to. There's no Meshigoyim. There's no Meshigoyim that make all kinds of funny parades or things. So this guy, there were Meshigoyim those days too. So, but the difference is that today we don't do anything about it. Rav did something about it, Meshigoyim.
Those days they gave malchus.
And then there's Rav Mangid, Aman the Mekadosh below Shidduch.
You know what? I wasn't serious under the foot. I did biyah. Sugar, he's gonna get malchus.
Right. This is, but there's also, the Gemara tells a story that the one got malchus for this as well. But this Rav is what you say, that he's required that you should make first, you shouldn't just have right away the wedding. You should make a shidduch, and it's a way to sneeze, and then the same thing here. We want that the kiddushin shouldn't be a shayla, even though big deal, they're living together, but we want that the kiddushin should be serious. So therefore we want there shouldn't be any shayla on the kiddushin, so we don't want that they should eat. As they'll eat, they might eat something that makes them drunk, or drink something that makes them drunk. Number 3 is mibnei shamitzvos chaviva aleim, v'lachach noegim kederech shoysim chasidim rishonim, she'v'sa'adam al mitzvah chaviva kedin lulav. Minik Chabad is in the morning before you do the lulav, not to eat. Minik Chabad is also by shofar, not to eat Rosh Hashanah in the morning until after you hear shofar. It's a difficult thing, because then you end up basically fasting a half a day. By the time you get home from Shul Rosh Hashanah, it's 3 o'clock. So this is the whole issue, because it's a mitzvah chaviva. So the same thing here. So because it's a mitzvah chaviva, a mitzvah Shem first the chos and kala do it once in their lifetime and that's it. So therefore, they're fasting till they do the mitzvah. What's the nafkamina between the 3 reasons? There's like a shmak esich that everyone spoke about this. When the nafkaminas are the 3 reasons. I never said several nafkaminas. If it's a Yom Kippur, you makabel tainus. In other words, to say that this is like a day of Yom Kippur. So you have to fast the whole day. Especially, even if you say that there's a concept of a tainus shows that it's mechaper, but what happened if they thought that the chuk will end up late, and they ended up today that doesn't happen, and they end up doing the chuk early. The makabel tainus, even if you're going to say that you could be makabel tainus shows for a tshuva, but they were makabel tainus till a certain time, and now they ended up doing the chuppah early, for sure they shouldn't be allowed. If you say that that's the reason. But if you say the whole reason is that they shouldn't be drunk, b'shas the chuppah, as soon as the chuppah is over, is then they're allowed to eat and drink.
Does it have to be a full day? Do they eat early, or they have to wait till after the shayla?
So that's the shayla. That's exactly the shayla. If you say if it's for tshuva, or Yom Kippur, it should be a whole day. So anyway, and the other nafkamina is also, do they really have to do tshuva that day? It's Avad the Gewiss, the Gemara says that 3 people, the Eibush is Moichel all their Avedis. And there's 2 Gemaras, a Medrash and a Yerushalmi. One it says that it is a Chos and a Kala, and Mishael L'Gdula and a Geir. And the other one says that it's a Chosen, and also a Nasi and a Bezdin that was appointed. But the bottom line is that the Chos and the Kala is, everyone agrees that B'yom the Chasana, that they're Moichel all the Avedas. The Shaila is, how does that happen? You have to do tshuva for it, or you don't have to do tshuva for it?
He doesn't say he did tshuva.
Oh, so by Esav itself is a machloikas. Some say that he did plenty tshuva, that he really did tshuva. Others say he didn't do tshuva. And that's talking the Shaila because we're learning it from Esav. And also, because it was Moichel on his Avedas. The other,
Maybe just she was in that. Maybe only she was.
Not only that.
but wait the other day. Why the question?
The other day we don't learn it from Machlas. The Yishami learns it from a Geshin is Gayan. And the Rebbe says if a Pasha is a Geshin is Gayan, it definitely does tshuva. What do you mean does tshuva? It means he says that my life till now was no good, and I want to be Neskar of HaKadosh Baruch Hu by being a Yid. So, Ein Lecha Tshuva Gedoyle Misu. If you're learning it from Yishmael, so you have to believe that he did tshuva. It's hard to imagine that he did tshuva. Yishmael, from all the stories we know about Yishmael, he doesn't. You don't imagine that Yishmael over there sat over there with the Siddur and the Tehillim and the Gegagim and Takvitl and Napan and said Al Cheid.
He also harassed Yaakov's son before.
Yes,
Maybe
it's
he
hard.
did it the Arab style. Went on the road, went lay down, and got up. That's how the Arabs say tshuva.
So Yeshemri v'Yeshemri. But if you say that we learn it from a Geir is for sure doing tshuva. So that's the shaila. Does the Chos and the Kala have the Mechila automatically, or they have to do tshuva? That's also why there is a Machloikas of Poskim, why they fast. If you say, because the minute was that they used to fast. If you say they have to do tshuva, so some Poskim said, 2 and 2 put together. They had that's the day to get the Mechil Savonas, just like in Kippur, there's a Machloikas, if it's Sumashal Yom Kippur Machaper. But the Chum say, no, there has to be with the tshuva. I'm sorry, we pass them that way. Taka Yitzuma Shal Yom Machaper, but you have to do tshuva. When you do tshuva, the day is machaper. So because the Chos and Kala want to use it out, and we tell them fast, this way you're going to remember to do tshuva. Yeah, what do you think?
Isn't we said one of the things that is machaper is one is oil of the dula, and chasen, and what's the other one?
According to this one was the chasen.
No, first and oil of beneath.
Well, one is gate and oil of the dula.
Yeah.
A gate, oil of the dula, and the chasen.
So isn't a chasen oil of the dula just that alone? Isn't that oil of the dula?
Yeah, it's a different form of oil of the
Yeah.
dula.
So I'm saying that even if you don't say it's out tshuva, I mean that they have mechabra, that they have to do tshuva when mechabra on your minus. This is you have to do tshuva when you're oil of the dula.
Well, because the Chazal compare these three, it sounds like everything. Because we learn it from a gate. Because the Gemara in Yishami learns it from a gate. It's mashma that we're not talking about anyone that's oil l'gdula, any chos and kala. Anyone that's oil l'gdula like a geir, which decides that, you know what, now I'm going to take things seriously because I'm oil l'gdula.
Right.
In other words,
maybe the chos is doing that also. He's also taking.
No, that's what the Rebbe is saying. So Pashtos, that's the reason that he's showing him that said that the fasting is as a tshuva like Yom Kippur, because Chazal compared it to a geir, and a geir differently than tshuva. So therefore, these poskim said that the minig of fasting must be an inyan of tshuva like Yom Kippur.
Right. Why can't we also compare it to the dula?
So the other opinions say takaza that it's like oil of gdula, that it's not.
Really, it's
automatic. It's
really
automatically it happening automatically. Elamai, why is it? If it's happening automatically, why is he fasting? So you have to give a technical reason. He shouldn't be shikir. Bishaz the kiddushin.
Well, it's a serious day. But
it's nothing to do with tshuva.
Right.
The nafkamina is also to our Kala here that asked that she has to fast. So
it's
if you're saying, because it's hard for her. So if you're saying,
she did also drink kibba.
So yeah, but she doesn't want. This is a Kala that asked wasn't interested in
A lot
fasting.
of times, just tell her you can have all this orange juice in and out.
But just to have it every 10 minutes, right? Every 10 minutes an ounce. Huh?
She's not going to feel a little bit of fasting.
Right. Oh, it does like.
That's
about
orange juice.
This is if the Kala is going to feel uncomfortable by the chasana, and this is a minute. So I
feels
said,
comfortable fasting all day.
well, who feels comfortable? But some people.
It's very hard.
Well, some people
My
are
day
making
fasting
for
was-
women. Some people
My
are
fast
making.
is the longest day of the year.
Some people are making for women. They say that women don't have koyach to fast. Klal. So even though in the yeshiva shekrais and Chabad we don't go with that attitude, but it couldn't be worse for this Kala who says b'fem that you can't fast. So I said that the Evazoi, so obviously make sure you're not drinking any liquids that are any alcohol, any cocktails, any wines, and that. And also there's a concept of redeeming your fast. If you're supposed to fast and you can't fast, like for tshuva, there's a concept that you should redeem your fast. You should give tzedakah. Anyway, Chosn Kala, the Rebbe's made a big thing that Chosn Kala should do. And the Mechutonim and everyone should give a lot of tzedakah the day of the Chasna. Because, for many reasons. But the bottom line is, there's Chazal, we'll call the story with Rabbi Akiva and his daughter, but there's a minig Yisrael that you make a sulas aniyim. There's a minig Yisrael to make a sulas. So therefore, I said, don't fast, but give tzedakah instead of the fasting. It's a beautiful word from the Rebbe on this. The Rebbe says that what's the connection of a person that becomes a Rab or a Yeshiva or a Bezdin with a Chosn? Like, how do you glue them together? So the Gemara says that a person becomes a Nasi or a Bezdin or a Rab or Chosn, that they forgive their sins. What's the connection? So the Rebbe says because they're spiritual children and Gashmizdika children. Chosn Kala are about to make Ashmizdika children. But if you teach Torah to another Yid, if you teach Torah to another Yid, that Yid becomes your son. So either way, when a Yid makes Achlota, he's going to be mashpia on another Yid to influence another Yid. So Malamayla, they say, okay, you know what? So the Rebbe said, if you're having a hard time doing tshuva, so instead of doing your own tshuva, be mashpia on another Yid to learn Torah and another Yid and another Yid. Every day you're doing that, they're moichel you all your avoidness.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Right. Okay, that's what I said. Kala complaining that
unless she might be connected with tension because all the lot of stuff divided.
Oh, that's special stuff.
Magic stuff. And then usually they're the Tzura Rabbis.
Yeah. Third Sheilos is.
Bench has probably got everything in this.
The question that is asked is, what is this thing with Chabad? Before the wedding, Chosn have to have smicha. What's this minig Chabad? Yeah. What's the connection over here that before the wedding you have smicha? So I think it's a little bit taken out of hand. That the Rebbe, I don't think meant that what's happening today in Chabad is that you're trying to, the best excuse that every boy has, trying to talk to a boy about a shidduch. I didn't finish smicha yet.
You used that?
Yeah.
I can't go for shidduch.
I didn't do smicha yet. And Shas, you already finished Shas? Like that's my next question. What Shas? No. But the Rebbe said you have to do smicha. So this is a Gavaldik misconception. It's just the Chassanim are using it as an excuse, and it's not a good thing. Yes, they have encouraged that the Chassanim should have smicha, but that shouldn't be used as a tool, an excuse.
It does work.
Huh?
It does work. It's not an excuse. It does work.
But people are using it as an excuse not to start dating.
Okay, but it works. They push it out the closet.
Yeah, they push it off, but it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. What we had here at Yeshiva, so there were when we had the bochum coming for smicha, in the beginning of the year, I always said, look, we don't have freezer, we don't have air conditioners, we don't have refrigerators. If you want to date, gesundheit, freiligkeit, obviously you have to talk with Danhola, so we know if you're out here for say the yeshiva, but Mitzidi, I think it's a good idea. It's a good idea. So every time, because there's a mishagas in their head that they think they have to have smicha. It's like a marriage license. Before you have smicha, you can't get married in Chabad. So they sit there and smirk and smile and laugh. It was a joke, and it didn't help to say I'm not kidding.
So where does that come from?
Sound like because they think that the Rebbe encouraged. The Rebbe didn't say it's a marriage license. I'll soon explain. So there was one Talmud that took it very seriously. Taka, A short time later, there was a tzoas and he dated the girl. He got married before he finished even the complete smicha.
Baruch Hashem is still married.
And Baruch Hashem, this not stop. He's married, and he's a person that's besimcha, and his Yiddish Shemayim, and his
It's Balagol.
Yes, he's doing that avodah that Hashem
I
did.
told him that. I just met him. I told him that Baal Shem, that the Alter Rebbe had his Talmud, he made him to be a Balagol. I said, and he told me I'm his Gilbu. I said, and I'm the Alter Rebbe's Gilbu.
You know what? You see Talmidim in yeshiva. It doesn't matter if it's in Lubavitch or if it's in yeshivas in Lakewood. Maybe they're gaining 2-3 years more of longus, but the Yiddish Shemayim is not growing. After a certain point, there's a peak, and after a certain point, the Yiddish Shemayim is not going up. If they get married, the Yiddish Shemayim is going up. But if they're not getting married, the Yiddish Shemayim is not going up. That's just a fact. It's just the way it is. So why really did the Rebbe say that you have smicha? So first, what's smicha? The kid said there's 3 reasons brought in the poskim why there's smicha. One is off the wall, but it's brought in the Tshuvas HaGeonim, which is to commemorate the original smicha. The original smicha was that Moshe Rabbeinu gave Yeshua smicha, and Yeshua gave it to the next generation. Then the Romans said that smicha will be given on the pain of death, and there was no more smicha anymore. But we don't know when smicha really ended, but at some point there was no more smicha anymore. So we want to commemorate for it. We want to make like a zikaron for this thing. So we have this concept of after a person learns a certain amount, they get smicha. Like the Gemara says that the smicha could be yoyda yoyda, or yodin yodin, or yate b'choydas. That he gets that for whatever the Talmud learned, that the Rav tells him, oh, you learned the halachas of yoyda yoyda, which is the halachas of kosher kitchen and so on. So you could now paskin in yoyda yoyda, or if you learned kosher mishpat, you could paskin yodin yodin, or if you learned about b'choydas, those days that was a big question. What's a mum? What's not a mum? The Gemara says that Rav went for 18 chadoshim to hang out in the farm with the Roy Boker to learn what's a mum oiver and what's a mum kabua. So then they say Yachta b'choydas, whatever the Rav commemorate the original smicha. Second reason. What's for yod? Second thing is that the din is that Talmud is not allowed to be moida lifnei rabbi. And if he's not lifnei rabbi, he's allowed to, whatever, 3 parts away, but he's not allowed to be koiveya, hiroah. He's not allowed to sit down in a place and saying, I'm going to start passing dinner, have a bezdin, and so on. Even at the other end of the world, unless his Rav gives him permission. So that's the second reason for smicha. The third reason for smicha is, there's a concept that's for a shoichet, it's brought in Simul Chadosha. If a shoichet doesn't have a ksav from Netilas Rishus, from a shoichet that's already before him, that's called a Kabbalah. You have to shech 3 chickens or 3 cows in front of a shoichet that already has Kabbalah from someone before him, and he writes in a paper that you shechted 3 things successfully, and Yomela you're a shoichet.
Mohel and the sim?
No, it's brought in Simul Chadosha that the person could be the best shoichet in the world. If the person does not have Kabbalah, it's as if the Klal Yisrael accepted upon themselves that this shechita is like nevela. The shechita is nevela. That's how strong they wanted. It shouldn't be the Wild West. That every person thinks he could shech. So they said you have to have Kabbalah from a shoichet before you. You have to have a Kabbalah.
So when they teach them shechita today, they get Kabbalah.
They get Kabbalah. They have to have Kabbalah from the shoichet. It is brought in Simul Chadosha. I don't know if this one go with Simul Chadosha, but what they today, the Sefer Simul Chadosha is so ungenommen by Ashkenazim, there are shoichetim that learn Simul Chadosha all the time. And they get tested on Simul Chadosha. It's called Tzmach. They call it Tzmach. They get tested on Simul Chadosha. It's a Sefer on Shechita, written by one of the Gedolei Yisrael in the time of the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov considered him, and it was so accepted, the Sefer, that there are sheikhtim that they know it like Kiddush, they know it like Ashri. That's sheikhtim, they learn it There are some Simla Chadoshes, they have it like for Aleph Beis, the whole month, their whole life, they're learning over Simla Chadosha. But even they're not that intense, but they're learning all the time Simla Chadosha.
Rabbi, I heard from a lot of Rabbanim in Israel when I was younger that they got smicha from my grandfather, who was a shochet to the Ben Ishmael. We got smicha from your grandfather. That's
Right.
what it was.
That was
But they
it.
showed me the stuff. Smicha that he
Right.
allowed to go shop.
Okay. So you see, the
This
minig
is
is
the
also by
Kabbalah.
Svardim. So you see by Svardim also this minig. Yeah. 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 You got to get hold of them. Yeah. And today they have two things, Kabbalah and Eidah. The Kabbalah is from the Rosh Hashiva that you learned Simcha Chadosha, and Eidah is from the Sheikhet that you shecht in front of him.
I have a question from the beginning. You said that they told the Bachurim to learn the Smicha. Why don't you tell them to have Hilchot Ishut?
Smicha, Hilchet Nida.
Hilchot Nida, all things with women. That's more important than everything else. You're going to get married.
Yeah. Every chassan
has to
Of
learn.
course, but get the Smicha.
Well,
for
it
that.
depends. Some yeshivas actually require the students that get Smicha to learn Hilchas Nida and to get tested on it.
Yeah?
Some yeshivas do.
I think it's good because you're going to get married. You're going to the war. You don't know what.
You have to
Yeah.
learn it for the wedding every
Of course, but
Yeah,
you can
to
learn,
learn
it
it,
to start.
right.
You can learn and learn.
Right.
Yeah.
Some yeshivas require to learn most of the Simonim and Hilchas Nida.
It's actually a good
very
shayla. Every chassan should get. No rav should marry off a chassan unless he has took a bechina by a rav and he should check it out. That's a good shayla.
That's a separate thing.
That's a good point.
Definitely a Rav before his Masad the
I'll
Kedusha,
tell
you
you
should make
before,
sure they know
no one
that
should get married until they know how to effectively have marriage.
I have to respect the woman.
You're saying you should take a question in that
You
also?
know that in the Catholic Lahavdil Halatolos, they have to take a course in how to be a husband and a wife and understand how to.
Yeah, why gave it shit just yesterday? He asked the question, how come a baby's born and no manual comes out with a baby? How are people supposed to know how to keep a baby? You're saying, forget about the baby, but they have to get a manual before they get married.
It's a great idea.
They still get divorced.
Yeah, but he's saying they would minimize divorce.
You know what divorce rate is in the community now? It's what is it?
What is it?
Like close to 40?
No.
What?
30.
No,
Yes.
no.
What?
Maybe in some circles.
35%.
In some circles.
Maybe in some circles. Still very, very low.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. Okay, let's wrap it up. So what's the nafkamina between the three reasons? That it has to be permission from your Rav. So it doesn't apply only if you have a Rav moving. But if you say it's the shoes to paskin, so that's taka shaykh today to get the shoes to paskin. Why did the Rebbe want that yeshiva students should have smicha before they get married? The Rebbe said because there was a story about the Meir Shapiro. The Meir Shapiro, when he opened his yeshiva Chacham Lublin, he raised a ton of money. He made a beautiful building, and it was a whole revolution in yeshivas, not just in the basement, the Beis Medrash, took good care of the Bachim. It required a lot of money, right? So there's all kinds of stories, beautiful stories with the Meir Shapiro and fundraising. I don't know if all those of them are true, but there's a lot of stories. But one beautiful story that's told is that he brings a gvir to the yeshiva, and he says, "Wow, look at this! It's a girl Torah." So he turned this gvir turns to the Meir Shapiro. He says, "We actually need 1,000 rabbonim. We need that many rabbonim. How many kilos do we have?" So the Meir Shapiro said, "No. We need balabatim that understand what's a rov and what's not a rov. I want that my students will be balabatim, that they'll know who is a rov and who's not a rov." So the Rebbe said that I wanted the Talmid Yeshiva should have smicha so they know what's a shaila and what's not a shaila. What's a shaila, what's not a shaila. The other recently with Shabbos we're learning Hilchot Bich Sanenin. So the other day we were talking about something, and I was thinking, this is like we were talking about certain cereals. An Amoritz will never have the courage to ask it up what's the shayla. What, Amoritz, well, you don't know the bracha of the cereal? It takes a Talmud Chacham to ask a shayla. I don't know, what's the bracha of the cereal? Yeah, there's a big sticker on the cereal saying the bracha, but I'm not sure I want to ask a shayla. It takes a Talmid Chochem to understand what's a Shayla and what's not a Shayla. So the Rebbe said, I want the Talmid Yeshiva should go, before they go out into the world, when they're getting married, should understand basic things of what's a Shayla and what's not a Shayla. So Memela, back to, so since that was the Kavanah, it wasn't like it was a marriage license. The Rebbe wanted that a younger man should have an Avona, so he'll know what to ask it of and what not to ask. And maybe Taka will have a Geshmak in learning and he'll decide to go into that bonus. But that wasn't the Tachlis. The Tachlis was to know what's a Shayla. Memela, that's not a requirement.
It's an Ishma.
Yeah, that could be. But the Ikris should know what's a Shayla, like the Meir Shapiro said. I don't need 1,000 abonim. I want the Balabatim should know what's a Dov and what's not a Dov. So Memela, that's not an excuse not to get married. And the Abish is a from the Taka should change. Sayin Lubavitch and Say round. And Baruch Hashem, I'm very proud to say that the Chosn that's getting married in Mitzvah Hashem this week does not have smicha yet.
Have you seen it 4 days?
No, he's young.
When we were walking in yeshiva,